Hi everyone, welcome to the Zoe Access Now live Q&A session. My name's Harry. Hi, be confident. I'm a member of the Access Now onboarding team, so I'm going to be live for the next between 30 minutes and an hour, just depending on how long you guys want me here, and I'll be able to help out. So please feel free to get your questions into the comments, and then I'll be able to get to them right away. So yeah, if you just type your question in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, then I should be able to see them pop up. So Mahad Rana says that their ad manager account is not approved. So what I can do, if you don't mind sending over your website name, then I'll be able to bring that up in our system, and I can have a little look for a bit more information on why your site's not being approved. One thing that we found really useful with ad manager approvals is our support document on what to do if your site is denied. So I'm just going to get that up and add that to the comments for you. So yeah, if your site has been denied by Google Ad Manager, which we are seeing quite a lot of examples of, it can be pretty frustrating, as a lot of you may have experienced, because they don't really give a whole lot of reasoning behind why the site was disapproved in the first place. So what we've done as a team is we've compiled a list of things that we found are really helpful for getting sites approved, and we've added them to that document there. So if you're able to work your way through that document, it splits it up by reasons for denial, which you should get in your Azure dashboard, and then make sure that you're implementing absolutely everything that they've suggested, and that should be able to that should help you get approval. So Electric Public asks, do side rail ads work with a sidebar? So as far as I know that they should, side rail ads are, I think, a relatively new ad format that are designed to work on widescreen devices. So usually Google's ad density rules work within a vertical threshold. So that means that they look to see how much of the vertical space is taken up by ads. So as long as you're not having your side rail ad overlapping a sidebar ad, so they're on top of each other, then it shouldn't be a problem. Side rail ads should work with a sidebar. Hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity for you. So Zen of Donut has a question. I have this message on the dashboard. What can I do to resolve it? Issue with DNS records. The Cloudflare app requires changing your DNS www record from A to a CNAME record. But you're unable to do so because you have multiple records with the host name of type A. If you'd like to use Cloudflare for your site, please delete the other records. Okay, so Zen of Donor, if you are able to send your domain name over, I should be able to help with that. But we have a fail-safe in our system that will stop us from, it will stop you from changing your DNS records if it detects a copy of that DNS record. So if, for example, you've already got a www record that is of type CNAME, if you try to change the A record to a type CNAME, it'll detect a duplicate and it'll stop you from doing that. Usually, all that you need to do is just delete the A record, but I just want to make sure that that is what we need to do in your case. So if you can send your website name over, then I can double check for you and I'll be able to confirm. Thanks. So I'm just checking out your site now. It doesn't actually look like it's sent over the domain name properly, Zen of Donuts. So if you're able to maybe add it in the comments with spaces between the words in the domain name, it might register. I think YouTube has something that automatically blocks people from adding actual website names into the comments. It's just to help stop spam. So if you're able to just type out the words separately, then I should be able to find it. Thanks. Just while you are doing that, we've got a few more questions and I'll get back to you. Mahad Rana says, how am I able to change Gmail, Ad Manager Gmail? Is this possible? So this depends. Google have pretty strict rules now with Ad Manager applications in that if you've got an AdSense account with Google, you need to enter that as your email address when you apply to Ad Manager. And the reason for this is because they're rolling all Google ad accounts into one Google Publisher account, and everybody's only allowed to have one. So if you enter a different email address, it'll create another account, and what that'll do is we'll detect a duplicate, and then you'll automatically get denied. So if you just entered the wrong email address and you need to update it to an AdSense email address, for example, the best way to do that is reach out to our team in the community, and they'll be able to reset your application and change the email on it. However, if you've been denied by Ad Manager and you want to swap Gmail accounts, try and reapply with another email, we're not able to actually do this because as soon as you go apply with another email, it'll just automatically get denied. So we're not actually able to change it if you've already applied and been disapproved. But if you just need to change it in order to put the right email address in, then just reach out in the community. Thanks. Multimedia says, I've submitted my site for Ezoic monetization. I've submitted my existing working AdSense account for Ad Manager approval, but they've not approved your Ad Manager. What do I have to do now? If you so if you log into your Ezoic dashboard and go to the section that has the MCM application, Ad Manager application on it, then it should give you a little more information on why you've been denied. So if you're able to send that over, let us know why you've been denied, or if you send your site name over, I'll be able to have a look myself. Then we can help with that. But if you look up in the comments as well, I've also put a link to a support article on how to help getting sites approved for Ad Manager, and we found this has actually been really useful for Ezoic publishers in getting their sites approved. It's just that link there. So you might want to go and take a read of that. It basically contains a full checklist of all the things that you need to do to make sure you're getting approved by Ad Manager. So I'd recommend following that. I've already had a chat with with the team. They've withdrawn the invite, and again, you've submitted, but the same issue you're having. If you're able to send us your domain name, I can take a look and see why you've been disapproved, and I'll be able to give you a little more information. Unfortunately, I can't, without your website name, I can't see why you've been disapproved, so I can't really give any more information than I already have. But if you can send that over, that'd be great. Thanks. Welcome to anybody who's just joining us in the live stream. My name's Harry. I'll be here for the next 30 minutes to an hour to help with any questions you might have. So if you do have any questions about yourself, about Ezoic in general, about earning, site speed, SEO, I'll be happy to help with any of that. So please feel free to get them in the comments. Multimedia, are you able to send the domain name as separate words instead of as a website name? Just because YouTube will automatically filter out these comments if you're sending website names to try and stop spam, so I can't actually read them. Prince G said how to check my domain apply date for Google reviews. So we don't have this available in the dashboard right now, but we send it in for review as soon as your initial account gets approved. So if you check your emails, you should be able to find one from Google and saying that your account's been approved for MCM, and that'll be the day that we've sent your site off for review. Thanks, Multimedia. I'm just bringing up your site in our system now. So the reason that you've been denied is because Google has detected a duplicate account. So this usually means that you'll have signed up using an email address that's different from an existing AdSense account that you might have, or another Google Ads account. This can include AdMob and things like that as well. So what you need to do is find the duplicate account in question and delete that account. You need to close the account with Google. So usually we tend to find that this is AdSense accounts that people have that they've might have forgotten about. So if you can find the duplicate account, close it, and once it's closed, you should be able to reapply in your Ad Manager dashboard, and that should help push things through, and you should get approval. If you have closed it and reapplied and you're still getting denied, then open up a thread in the community and we can have a member of our team get in touch with Google for you, and they'll be able to sort that out from there as well. So yeah, you can only have one Google Ads account, so that includes AdMob, Ad Manager, AdSense. You're only allowed one of them now. So you need to make sure that if there's any old AdSense accounts that you were using, that you make sure you log into those and ensure that they're closed, and that should stop that denial message from happening. Hope that helps. Hi there to anybody who's just joining. If you do have any questions about your site, please feel free to get them in the comments, and I'll be happy to help out right away. We've got a question here from the Gagster. Can you check if my mediation is working? Yeah, I certainly can. One thing that you may see when you link AdSense mediation is that you may not see mediation revenue reporting right away. Now that is actually perfectly normal. So the way that mediation works is that it'll invite AdSense or any of the ad networks that you have added into the system along to bid against the Zoic for your ad inventory. And then what we'll do is we'll show the ad, we'll wait to see who wins the bid, and then we'll show the ad from that bidder. So the fact that you're not seeing mediation revenue actually usually just means that Zoic is paying the highest price for your ads, which is something that we would probably expect in a lot of cases. But the fact that just because you're not seeing mediation revenue, it doesn't actually mean that you'd be earning any less. The fact that we've got more competition coming in to bid against Zoic usually drives up the price of your ads. It looks like your revenue's taken a pretty good upturn recently, along with your traffic. That looks great. I'm just going to pull up your site in our system now and double check that mediation is linked. So it looks like mediation is still pending, which is not a problem. What we need to do now is if you could open up a thread in the community and add your AdSense publisher ID, then we should be able to finish the mediation link. And once that's done, then AdSense will be linked up to your Zoic account, and we'll be able to start inviting them along to bid on your inventory. So go ahead and open up a thread in the community, and we'll get to you right away. Just in case you need it, the community link can be found here. We've got another question from Abid Fayaz. Hi, Abid. Hi, I want to know if I change name servers via Hostinger, will it affect my website in any way, since I need to connect a new name server via Zoic? So this shouldn't affect your website at all. The reason that we ask people to change name servers is to allow us to channel your site via Zoic servers through to where your site is hosted, and that means that we can insert our ad technology without any major impact on things like speed to your actual site. So it's a perfectly safe thing to do. I would say around 70% of people or more are integrated with Zoic via name servers. So, and we get hundreds of people using the technology every day to integrate. So it's perfectly safe to do. And I can see that you've also asked, is the plugin better to get better use of Zoic? Actually, it's the other way around. The plugin is an easier way to integrate in that all you need to do is install a plugin. But the problem is that everything will process on your own server, and this can cause quite a lot of slowdown, and it also means that you miss out on some really good features. Some leaked features, for example, are only available through name server integration, and they're not available through the plugin. So yeah, I would definitely recommend name server integration if it is possible for you. Hostinger should be able to do that for you fine. Just make sure when you change your name servers, you change them at the place where you've registered the domain, not where it's hosted. So Hostinger might have the domain registered, but if you've bought the domain from somewhere else, for example, GoDaddy, you need to change your name servers there and not at your host. Hopefully that helps. Multimedia said, in regards to the duplicate account, actually the issue is that somebody is using the same home address. That's why Google is asking for the duplicate account. They've mentioned the duplicate account email and you don't recognize it. Okay, so if Google detect the same address on a business in AdSense or in Ad Manager, then they will detect that as a duplicate. If you were to change to another address, then if there's another address that you're able to provide, then that may stop the duplicate account issue from happening. So it's up to you how you do that, but usually if they detect the same address, it'll register as a duplicate. So if there's another address you're able to use, then that should fix that. Electric Public says, how do you see in analytics what ad placements are earning money? Yield report has no revenue showing. I think that is meant to say has no revenue showing. Yeah, it is. So which ad placements are earning money can sort of vary from user to user, which is why we don't really publish that info right away, because it doesn't always give a useful picture. For example, for a certain section of your users, the bottom placeholder may be earning way more money than the top placeholders, but for another section, it could be the other way around. So it doesn't always give useful information. However, if that is something that you are interested in, yield reports are actually available on Ezoic Pro, which is a subscription-based service which gives you access to a few sort of nice-to-have features. One of those is advanced reporting, such as yield reports, and the other one is access to Leap if you don't have our monetization features. And then you also get some access to our unlimited access to our title tag testers, so you can do a bit more advanced SEO optimization on the site as well. Yeah, so you can read more about Ezoic Pro on our knowledge base. Let me just grab you a link. If that is something that you're interested in, then great. But what I would say is that if you just wanting to know, if you're just sort of concerned about removing placeholders which earn a lot of money, for example, if you go to delete a placeholder in using the Ezoic Chrome extension, before you delete it, it'll tell you what percentage of your revenue that placeholder actually makes. So if you're just interested to see how much placeholders are actually earning, you could always do that. However, I would strongly recommend against actually going ahead and deleting any of the placeholders. Even if placeholders aren't earning you much money, what they do is gather a lot of data on your users, and removing that data by deleting a placeholder can upset the system, and it can stop you from earning as much as you may be able to. But yeah, if you're interested in Ezoic Pro, you can read about it at the link I'm just posting now. Hopefully that helps. Abid Fayaz has said, why is my cache hit rate 0? So there are a few different reasons why this can happen, but we actually have built out a cache debugger that can help with that. So if you go into the Leap section of your account and down into caching, you should find there is right at the bottom of the page, there is something called debug cache. And what that'll do is it'll show you all of the top URLs that are not hitting the cache. And if you enter the URL into the debugger, it'll tell you why it's not hitting. One thing I would recommend right off the bat doing, which I see is like a big reason that people's sites aren't hitting the cache, is enabling override cache control headers. So if you go to the cache setting values, let me just share my screen real quick. Right, so if you go into the cache setting values, you'll see that there is a setting called override cache control headers right here. If you edit that and enable that to on, that'll make sure that there are no external caching rules that are stopping Ezoic's cache from working properly. I'd say maybe like 75% of the issues I see with people's cache not hitting is just due to this setting right here not being turned on. So if you go ahead and enable that, that usually gets your cache working pretty quickly. So yes, I would recommend doing that if you're unsure why your cache isn't hitting. Another thing that I would maybe suggest doing is increasing your cache age. So if your site doesn't get a lot of visits, then and you're only caching for a period of say 24 hours, if your pages aren't getting more than one hit in a 24-hour period, then the cache is just going to miss all the time anyway. So we do set the cache as standard to 30 days, but if you've updated that yourself to a shorter amount of time, that might be why your cache hit is low. But yeah, so the first thing I would definitely check is override cache control headers, and then the second thing I would do is maybe increase your cache age, but that should help getting your cache hitting a little more quickly. The third thing I would check is make sure that you've got any other caching that you have is not caching in front of the Zoic, meaning if you've got really strong cache rules that are caching everything on the page, they may be interrupting a Zoic's caching. So you could always experiment with turning other caching off to see how that helps things. Hopefully that helps. Electric Premium has said, Electric Public has said, you're on premium, but even after checking in the month of December, zero revenue is showing in the yield report. Clicks are showing, but revenue isn't. That might be something that we'd have to look into a little closer with our tech team. Are you able to open a thread in the community and we can get a member of our team on that? It's just because of the whole spam URL thing, it's a little difficult for me to be able to get your website and check that live. So if you're able to just open a thread, we'll get somebody to look at that right away. Because if you do have access to yield reporting, then that should definitely be working properly for you. Light in Place says, why is earning not showing Xbox Day? I'm not sure. I don't actually understand the question. Are you able to just explain what you mean by Xbox Day? I'd be happy to help. I'm unsure what Xbox Day is, I'm afraid. We've got a question from Tafadza. In the previous months, October, November, that's when I registered for a Zoic. My website visits are the ones recorded in Google Analytics would align with the ones in Zoic Analytics, for example, 50K Google, 50K Zoic. However, at the beginning of December, things changed. Zoic Analytics no longer detect and record the views that are visiting my website as recorded on Google Analytics. Okay, so usually there are a couple of things that could cause this. So the first thing, if you're integrated by the Zoic WordPress plugin and you've installed a plugin that is not fully compatible with Zoic, it can interrupt our analytics tracking. So that could be one reason for it. And the other reason could be that you've installed a new site speed tool on the site, and that is affecting how Zoic's traffic is, well, how Google Analytics traffic is actually recording. If you're able to send over your website name, I should be able to have a closer look and see if I can find out. But if in doubt, this sounds like it might be something that our tech team need to look into. So if so, I'd just recommend opening a thread on this in the community. You can open up a thread using the button in the top right hand corner at this link here. Okay, so Zen of Donuts being able to enter their domain name. I'm just looking back up through the comments just so I can remember what issue you're having. I'm just pulling up your site in our system now, Zen of Donut. Okay, so I think I see what's happening here. If it's okay, I'm just going to fix this on our back end super quickly for you. So I'm just updating your DNS records now so that the www record is of the right type to be compatible with Cloudflare. Apologies for that, guys. I was just had a couple of technical issues and the stream dropped off for a second. But Zen of Donut, just to answer your question, I should have fixed that for you now. You should no longer see that issue occurring. I've just updated your DNS records for you. So lighting places that your domain name is xbox.day. Thank you for clarifying. Sorry about the misunderstanding there. I'll just pull up your site in our system now. And your question is, why are earnings not showing? So it does look like you've been getting a bit of traffic to the site over the last couple of days, but traffic is pretty low. So it could just be that you've not seen enough traffic to start registering earnings yet. I can see that there are ads showing on the site okay. So just taking a look into your ad impressions historically, you're recording very few impressions on the site. I've seen a few impressions being recorded for yesterday and then a few more today as well. So it's possible that you'll just start to record revenue when stats update later today. But because the traffic is so low, revenue is likely to be so small, you just might not have accrued enough yet to actually start earning. So what I would do is just focus on building out your content as much as possible, and that'll start driving traffic towards your site. I can see that the engagement time on the site as well is really low, which means that your users might not be staying on there long enough to be able to actually see ads on the site. So yeah, I think this is just a case of the site is so new, it's not big enough to be able to start actually getting bidders in for your ads yet. So if you just focus on your content for the next days and weeks, and that should be able to drive a little bit more traffic to the site. And once that does happen, then you should start to see your earnings actually improve. Hopefully that helps. To Fadsware, I can see that you've just entered your domain name in the comments. I'm just going to pull that up now and have a look. I can see that you're getting getting quite a lot of traffic here, which is great. What I would recommend doing in this case, Tafadza, is reaching out to Paul, your account manager, because it does look like traffic is reporting normally on the Azoic side of things. So it could just be, it could be an issue with traffic, certain traffic being filtered out, and you'll need to have a look into that with Paul. What I'll do is I'll drop him a message now as well and let him know that you've been in touch, and he'll be able to reach out to you right away. But we should be able to get that fixed for you quickly. Multimedia has been back in touch about their ad manager approval. They've said that they noticed Google rejected because of the duplicate home address. You change the address and you're getting an ad manager program policy issue. I'm just going to pull your site back up just to have a quick look at it. One thing I would recommend doing, Multimedia, is would you be able to add your privacy policy link to your top menu? So one thing that we do tend to see is that because Google Ads require that all sites are GDPR compliant, they need you to have a privacy policy on the site. I can see that you do have one, but we sometimes see when they're placed at the bottom of the page like that and not easily accessible by the user, Google will sometimes interpret that as the privacy policy either not being there or not being in a position where it's easy for the user to actually find, and then they deny the site. So if you're able to move the privacy policy up into the top menu, then they should be able to help out with that. They should be able to sorry, we've just got a few spam comments. Yeah, if you move the privacy policy up into the top menu and then reapply, hopefully that should be all that's needed for approval. But yeah, I think it's good that you've got past the duplicate account issue. It's just a case of getting the site over to overturned policy-wise. Do you have any issues outstanding with Google AdSense? Any policy issues or anything like that? Multimedia. If anybody's just joining the live stream, welcome. Please feel free to get your questions in the comments. I'll stay on for another say 10 minutes or so, and then we'll call it a day here. But please do get in any questions while you can. I'd be happy to help. Okay, thanks for clarifying. What I would recommend doing in this case, because I think we're going to need somebody to look into this in more detail. So if you go and open up a thread in the community, we'll get a member of our team to look into it. The fact that you're getting the program policies message in the account approval does sort of tell me that there might be some policy issue with one of your Google accounts somewhere. So we need to try and find that if possible. But yeah, so if you could open a thread and speak to a member of our team there, then I'm sure we'll be able to get that resolved for you. And we can always reach out to the Google support team to see if they can provide a little more information, and hopefully that'll be a little clearer so we can start working towards a solution. Okay, everyone, we'll give it a few more minutes, and then we'll call it a day on this live stream today. So if you have any more questions before I do go, please feel free to get them in. I'd be more than happy to help while I'm here. So multimedia, with regards to withdrawing the invite, you should just be able to reapply in your ad manager dashboard. We can't withdraw the invite and then reapply once it's been denied. But if you log into your ad manager, you'll get the option to say that you are adhering to the policies, and you'll be able to reapply there. We've got a question from Abdullah. Hi, Abdullah. I've added my site to Ezoic on the 24th of November, but my EPMV is still extremely low. I'm just going to try. Are you able to send us over your domain name, and I can have a look in our system? Hanging it around $3 to $4. One thing that I would say is that we're currently at a pretty globally, the ad rates are extremely low. So I'm just going to show you everyone our ad revenue index. If you just bear with me 1 second. So this is the adrevenueindex.com, and what this is Ezoic's global tracker of how ad rates are actually doing. It's a really interesting tool that I'd highly recommend checking out if you get the chance. And you can scroll by date and see how historically ads have performed. So if we look in a standard year, 2021 was a pretty standard year for ads. You'll see that ad rates globally sort of increase towards the end of each quarter. Advertiser budgets work on a quarterly basis, and so you tend to see higher spending at the end of the quarters here, and then they sort of drop off a little bit, and then they start to pick back up again. This year is Black Friday, so it's a holiday in America, but is used pretty globally for things like sales from technology stores and clothing stores and things like that. And what it means is that advertisers usually spend up to sort of 60% of their annual budget just on this weekend here alone. So we see every year it hits Black Friday and we see really high revenue, and then things sort of drop off towards the end of the year, and then we start again. What we have seen this year is sort of a record downturn. You can see here for global ad rates. So we hit Black Friday of 2022 here, and that was as high as we got. You can see globally ad rates were way higher last year, and then we've seen quite a big downturn since. What this means is that your EPMV is probably not going to be as high as we would usually expect, and just through because of things like economically, the world's in a pretty bad place at the moment. We've got things going on with Russia and Ukraine, which is sort of affecting the world financially, and it means that spending is lower, and therefore ad rates are a little lower. So things are pretty bad at the moment with regards to ad earnings, but they are you can see just about that we are starting to pick back up a tiny little bit. And what we do expect to see in the next sort of few weeks, we do expect to see ad rates actually continue to grow, and we will start to see things picking up a little bit again. Um, I get it. I get that this is, pretty frustrating, but it's something that everybody else is sort of experiencing. If you're still unsure and you wanna make sure that you're earning as much money as possible, what I can do is send over a document on EPMV and how to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So this is basically just a checklist to make sure that your Ezoic account is set up correctly, and that you're getting the most out of it. So if you want to check that out, that should be able to help you make sure that you're getting as much as possible. You may already be doing all of these things, and I think what it likely is this is just a result of global ad rates being pretty low. But that document should be able to help just in case. Hi, Digital Era. I can see you've asked for an answer to your question, but I'm unable to find your question in the comments. Are you able to repost it? Multimedia, I can't. I don't think I'll be able to withdraw the invite because it's been disapproved, but you should be able to do that from your Ad Manager account. So if you go into your Ad Manager account, you should be able to find the opportunity to reapply. The Gagster's showing very little ads. I'm just going to check the site out now, but one thing that you may see is that Ezoic will change the number of ads that it shows on the page based on what the users want to see. And as a website owner, we would tend to interact with our website in sort of a fairly different way to how most people interact with it. So what you may see is an unusual ad setup on your site, but the system will still be showing ads at a level where the users in general are happy. So I've gone onto a page now. It's a fairly short page, and I'm seeing 5 or 6 ads on there, including some native ads at the bottom, which tend to be high sort of earners. So it looks like a decent amount of ads are showing. One thing I would say is I can see that you've got a not safe for work section. I would strongly recommend removing that because that can leave your site in violation of Google policy. And if there are areas of the site that are not appropriate, then Google won't show ads on those pages. So you might want to put that on a separate subdomain or even a completely separate domain. But Google ads don't tend to show on sort of adult content. So I'd recommend removing that. Just a reminder, Digital Era, I'm happy to answer your question, but I can't find it in the comments. So if you could repost it, then I'll answer that before we close things up for the day. Okay, I'll be on here 2 more minutes and then I'll close this up. So please do get your final questions in. Multimedia, it sounds like the best option here in your case is to open up a thread in the community and we can carry on with that. I'm a little, there's not really a great deal else I can do on the live stream to get that changed, but please do reach out and we can help you there. Okay, guys, if that's everything, I'm going to close this off for now. I just want to say thank you for everybody to everybody for joining, and we'll catch you all on the next live stream. Enjoy your weekends, and we'll see you later. Thanks.